Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my Endless Diary Tales channel? Thank you so much. To make up for what he saw as a mischance, he found out that after graduating high school, she had married a lowlife and ended up being beaten to death. Ethan blamed all of this on me, using my pregnancy as an excuse. He took me on a trip and then pushed me into the ocean. Right before I died, I heard his crazed scream. If you hadn't forced me into this engagement, I would have married her. She wouldn't have dropped out of school. She wouldn't have married that scumbag. You owe her, and now you'll pay it back twice over. So now I understood that neither I nor our unborn child could compare to Emily Lynn in his heart. Given a second chance, I wouldn't force him again. Without the engagement holding him back, he could be with her just like he always wanted. I told my parents that Ethan wanted to call off the engagement. They were furious and prepared to go to the Walker house to demand an explanation. The Walker family's business relied heavily on our family's network and connections. If I got upset, his parents would pressure him to apologize again. But this time I stopped my enraged parents. Still, the Walker parents rushed over first. Ethan had half his face swollen, his mother having shoved him several times. Yet he kept his head down and said nothing. His mother grew anxious and forced a smile at me. He's just overwhelmed by the pressure of getting into college. That's why he said such nonsense to you. What kind of good girl focuses on boys instead of her studies at school? I'll go to your school leaders myself and have that shameless girl expelled. Ethan winced and stood up. If Emily's dropping out, I'm not going back to school either, Ethan said. Mr. Cy Walker slapped him across the face again. Mrs. Walker, heartbroken, rushed to shield Ethan, then turned and ran off in tears. That night, I received a photo from Emily Lynn. Ethan was lying on her lap with his eyes closed. Then came a string of messages. We're together now. Even if his parents hit him, it won't change anything. He loves me. Feelings aren't something you can control. I read her words, each line dripping with provocation, but I felt nothing. He's not going to study abroad with you either. That made me laugh. This was the best outcome. In my previous life, I received offers from several top international universities, including some from the Ivy League, but I gave up on all of them just so I could go to the same school as Ethan. If you still try to use the engagement to force him, then you really have no shame, Emily added. I didn't bother replying to her self-important messages. Ethan was someone I had already thrown away. If she wanted to pick him up and treat him like treasure, that was her problem. I had no interest in anything to do with the two of them. I deleted their contact info, but after spending so many years in the same school with Ethan, we had far too many mutual acquaintances. News about them kept making its way to me. Ethan's rebellion against his family for Emily was loud and dramatic. Rumors that he attempted suicide by slitting his wrist in a tragic display of love. My friend Jason Shin was furious. What do they think they are, the leads in some melodramatic soap opera? Now it's some kind of tortured love story. That Emily girl, she's just good at acting pitiful, and he fell for it. Maybe Ethan's just into that kind of thing, he scoffed. Emily had transferred in under the label of being an exceptional student from an underprivileged background. I'd heard that her family situation was really tough. Not only did the school waive all her fees, but they even gave her a monthly stipend. She also worked part-time in secret to make ends meet. The first time I noticed that Ethan treated her differently was during PE class. After warm-ups, we were allowed to choose our own activities. Most of the boys went for basketball or soccer, and most of the girls chose badminton or tennis. The school provided badminton rackets but not tennis ones. You had to buy those yourself. Emily chose tennis, but she didn't have a racket and had to borrow one. No one wanted to lend her theirs. She cried and said that the girls in our class looked down on her and were teaming up to exclude her. Ethan went to my locker, opened it, and took out my spare tennis racket to give to her. You said you didn't like that color anyway, and you weren't using it. Might as well let her borrow it, he said offhandedly. When I didn't respond, he smiled and tried to coax me. If you're really upset, I'll buy you a new one. I didn't make Ethan buy me a new racket, but yes, I was angry. I had nothing to do with Emily, and I never intended to. But Ethan put me in an awkward position, forcing me into a moral trap. In the end, I was the one left without a tennis racket, and Ethan was the one Emily was endlessly grateful to. And that racket was just the beginning. Emily clung to Ethan constantly, finding reasons to thank him. I never knew she had so many tricks up her sleeve. She volunteered to take over Ethan's classroom duties he was supposed to do with me. But since he still needed to help me, she insisted on doing both. When I refused her help, she just acted like she didn't hear me. Hostility among girls doesn't have to be loud to be clear. I pulled Ethan aside and told him that if she wanted to clean, let her do it by herself. But the next day, our homeroom teacher pulled me in for a talk. Emily stayed behind cleaning alone. Last night, she was there so late that the buses had already stopped running. She didn't have money for a cab and ended up sitting at the bus stop crying. I hadn't told her to stay and clean, but Emily cried so dramatically that everyone knew the tears of the weak earned her sympathy. My emotional defense sounded like domineering excuses. Even Ethan, who knew everything that had happened, didn't stand by me. "She's a girl. It's dangerous for her to go home so late," he said. "Then don't let her meddle in things that aren't her business," I snapped, furious. I had never encountered such a disgusting tactic. I didn't know how to respond fast enough. I could only swallow the insult. Ethan said he would help fix things and went to comfort Emily. Sure enough, she stopped volunteering to do classroom duties, but then she started bringing Ethan hot water and made sure to bring me some too. My cup? Not just anyone can touch my things. And I certainly don't drink water that just anyone brings me. Family Lynn has touched it, I don't want it. With red-rimmed eyes, Emily whispered that she could wait with me. She knew the price and could only look helplessly at Ethan. Ethan spoke up on her behalf. "Sophia, Emily meant well. You don't lack cups. Don't make things hard on her. Who needed her fake kindness?" What upset me more was that Ethan didn't even realize the cup I used was one he had given me. It was a limited edition collaboration from a brand promotion, something I treasured because it came from him. I had cared so deeply, but he didn't notice at all. "Why do you always take her side?" I asked loudly. Emily flinched like I'd scared her and hid behind Ethan. Her voice trembled. "I'm sorry, I'll replace it. Just give me a little time." I didn't need Ethan to reject her for me. That was the first time Ethan and I had a Cold War. Jason Shun said it wasn't worth falling out with someone like Emily. I tried to take the first step to ease the tension between us, only to find out that Emily had taken on a new part-time job tutoring Ethan. "She needs money to buy a new cup," Ethan explained indifferently. "I'm just helping her make up for what happened." But I didn't think I'd done anything wrong. It was Emily who crossed the line and touched my things without permission. Still, what I didn't want more than anything was for Ethan to keep interacting with her. "I don't want her to pay me back," I said, but Emily insisted. She was clearly trying to provoke me, and I didn't bother hiding my disgust. Since I couldn't drive her away, I could only look forward to studying abroad with Ethan and finally getting away from this whole mess. Every day, Emily wore the same timid, pitiful expression like a scared little victim. Ethan's protective instincts toward her only grew more obvious. "Emily is not like you," he said once. "She's not from a well-off family. She's strong and independent. She's never relied on anyone. You really have no right to look down on her." Emily's tactics weren't even clever, but they worked on Ethan. His heart had already shifted. A girl who played weak and a guy desperate to be a hero. They were a perfect match. I was sure they'd live happily ever after. I received my acceptance letter from an overseas university on the day I was preparing to leave school. Ethan and Emily returned. Emily looked triumphant when she saw me. She clung to Ethan's arm, and Ethan lifted their interlocked hands. "Sophia, just let it go. Don't make me hate you even more." I had no idea what he was going on about. Let go of what? I didn't care how he saw me. "I don't like you," he said. "So why did you make your parents pull their investment? Tell them to reverse that decision, and maybe we can still be friends." I shook my head. I don't understand the family business, but no one wants to do a deal where they're guaranteed to lose money. Back when the Walkers and my family were tied by marriage, we could share the losses, but now there's no reason to. Ethan pointed at me, outraged. "You're just being vindictive now. I get why you agreed to break off the engagement so easily. You were planning to use this as leverage. If you think I would sacrifice love for money, then you really don't know me at all." In my heart, I applauded Ethan. I hoped he'd stand firm against the pressure from his family. Emily was moved to tears. She hugged Ethan tightly. "No matter what happens, nothing can tear us apart." I'll prove to your parents that you made the right choice. Jason rolled his eyes and cut in. Can we stop wasting time listening to all this crap? Come help me carry these books, will you? You should be preparing for Stanford instead. Ethan's expression changed instantly. He stared at me in disbelief. You got into Stanford? Jason grinned. That's right. Our Sophia dumped the dead weight. Of course, she picked the best school. He glanced at Ethan, then turned to me with a serious look. When you get to one of the world's top universities, pick a new guy. Close your eyes and grab anyone. He'll definitely be better than the last one. Ethan's face flushed red. Who could stand her spoiled princess attitude? He snapped. She's picky and sharp-tongued, not to mention average-looking and flat-chested. Ethan Walker, you're disgusting. Jason snapped. If you think you're so big down there, how about pulling your pants down and letting everyone take a look? Jason never backed down from anyone. If you won't take them off, then you're just a skinny little mushroom. Ethan's face twisted with rage. Suddenly, Emily Lynn's sharp voice rang out. Jason, are you Sophia's dog or something? Ethan didn't even say anything, and here you are barking nonstop. What's it got to do with you? I stepped in front of Jason before he could lash out. You know, the one who used to love acting like my dog was Ethan. Now that I don't want him anymore, I guess it's your turn to treasure him like gold. Good dogs don't block the road. I pulled Jason along and walked away. Behind me, Emily screamed in frustration. Sophia, don't act so high and mighty. What's so special about going to some overpriced foreign university? I bet you just didn't have the guts to take the college entrance exam here. You're afraid you wouldn't get into a real school, so you ran away. I'm going to Tingwa with Ethan. We'll make everyone look at us differently. Your jealousy won't change a thing. I smiled faintly. You've got some nerve, I'll give you that. Most students in the international program either earned guaranteed admission through competition or planned to study abroad. The school had only recruited someone like Emily as a social experiment to stir things up. She was smug about attending a prestigious university, prestigious private school for free, not realizing that nothing is ever truly free. Every gift comes with a hidden price tag. This time she had Ethan Walker, her knight in shining armor, to shield her. She wouldn't be expelled, I would wait and see. A month before the college entrance exams, Jason invited me out. He was an art student and had already received several offers from universities. The only thing left was the exam score. His academic grades were solid too. He loved painting and had chosen the art track out of genuine passion. I remembered that in my past life he made it into his dream school. I won't be able to see you off when you leave. I've got class that day, Jason said, looking reluctant. We probably won't get to hang out much anymore. Are you coming back for Chinese New Year? He asked. I laughed. I haven't even left yet, and you're already asking when I'll be back. Most of the classmates I was close with had already left. The only two still lingering were the ones I couldn't stand. After I left school, Emily took my seat and started sitting with Ethan. She claimed it made it easier for them to monitor each other's study habits. They were practically glued together in the classroom, showing off their relationship like it was a badge of honor. Emily said Ethan's academic foundation was solid, so studying didn't really matter to him. She even stayed overnight at internet cafes, claiming she was tutoring him. Then someone saw them secretly smoking in the underground parking garage. They said it was to relieve stress. Toward the end, even the teachers stopped caring about what they were doing. A friend of mine from the sports program said he saw Emily working part-time at a pool hall, hanging out with some shady older guys. She was nothing like the pitiful, delicate girl she pretended to be at school. I wasn't surprised. If Emily were truly that meek, she wouldn't have the guts to pull such flashy stunts. Ever since she transferred in, there had been non-stop drama. A few incidents might be brushed off, but when it happens over and over, even a blind person could see who was really at fault. Right before leaving the country, I went to the mall to pick out a graduation gift for Jason. That's when I ran into Ethan and Emily, who were supposed to be in class. Emily looked completely different. She curled her hair, wore flashy jewelry on her ears and neck, had on a tank top and a tight skirt, and even a gold bracelet. She clung to Ethan, begging him to buy it for her. Across the aisle, Emily spotted me. She lifted her chin proudly, arms wrapped around Ethan like he was her prize, and gave him a kiss right in front of me. I looked away, picked up my prepaid purchase, and walked off. But when I got home, I found Ethan's mother waiting for me. The moment she saw me, she lunged like she was grabbing onto her last hope. Neither my mom nor my aunt could pull her off me. "Sophia, sweetheart, could you please talk to Ethan for me?" she begged, clutching my arm like it was a lifeline. "That wretch. The girl is going to ruin him. His homeroom teacher has already contacted me several times. He's smoking, drinking, skipping class, and getting into fights. His dad's about ready to kill him. You and Ethan were always close. Please talk to him." "He'll definitely listen to you," Mrs. Walker begged, her voice increasingly frantic and incoherent. The more she spoke, the more agitated she became, but I couldn't do her that favor. After finally getting her out the door, my mom sighed and told me that she hadn't come just to plead for Ethan. She also wanted to borrow money. Their family had made overly aggressive investments, always chasing get-rich-quick schemes. If there really were such easy gains in this world, my mom said, they should have at least asked themselves whether they were up to it. I nodded and turned to Mrs. Walker. "Next time, don't let anyone from the Walkers into our home. We don't have anything to do with them anymore." Once abroad, I had my hands full adjusting to the new environment. My schedule was packed, and every day I was immersed in cutting-edge scientific theories and discoveries. The days flew by with all the work and studying. Jason sent me a video call, his face beaming with excitement as he held up his acceptance letter. I did it. I actually got in. I was genuinely happy for him. After the excitement passed, Jason leaned in and lowered his voice conspiratorially. They posted the honor list on both sides of the school gate. More than 200 names and the colleges they got into. Yours is in the top 10, bolded and enlarged. But I read through the whole thing and couldn't find Ethan or Emily anywhere. Turns out Emily had scored just over 400 points, only good enough to get into a junior college, and Ethan scored more than 30 points lower than her. He couldn't believe it and kept insisting there had been a mistake in grading. I stayed quiet. Clearly, Ethan's condition had worsened. The fact that he dared to question the rigor and seriousness of the National College Entrance Exam showed he just couldn't accept his actual abilities. After all that boasting about getting into Tsinghua, how exactly did he think he was going to pull that off? I didn't understand the misplaced confidence of those two. Ethan, who had finally gotten his wish of breaking off the engagement, now suspected the grading process, and Emily, who hadn't been expelled, worked hard and managed to get into a junior college. But I guess it didn't matter. Even if their grades were terrible, at least they still had their precious true love. Life abroad grew increasingly hectic. It wasn't until the Christmas and New Year holidays overlapped that I finally had time to return to China. Jason was still in school and didn't have a break yet, so I went out to eat on my own, hoping to treat my stomach to something better after 6 months of bland Western food. I was enjoying my meal when I suddenly heard a cold, mocking voice. I looked up and saw Emily Lynn sitting across from me. Without permission, her makeup was heavy, her hair dyed grayish blue, and she wore false lashes. She plopped down in front of me like she owned the place. "You eat like you haven't eaten in weeks. What, couldn't afford food overseas?" she sneered. "Sophia, you're looking worse and worse. I barely even recognized you. I thought you were studying abroad. What are you doing back here? Don't tell me you got expelled or couldn't handle it and had to come crawling back." I smiled slightly. "Well, I have my limits. You guys at Tsinghua are already on break now." Emily's expression twisted. She clearly didn't want to lose face in front of me. She forced a laugh and said, "I don't like how cold it is in Beijing. Besides, Ethan's an only child. His parents are getting old, and he's very filial. So, of course I stayed here with him. Unlike you, I'm not selfish." Her words didn't affect me at all. I just kept eating. But she raised her voice and went on. "Ethan and I are doing better than ever. His parents have accepted me too." Then she stretched out her wrist. "They even gave me this as a welcome gift." I glanced at the jade bracelet on her wrist. I wasn't an expert, but if it was real, the current market price would indeed be steep. Noticing where my eyes had landed, Emily looked pleased with herself, like she'd finally scored a win. "You recognize it, don't you? Do you know how much this bracelet costs?" I nodded. "Probably 7 or 8 figures. We're getting married right after we graduate," she bragged. "His parents said they'll buy us a villa." But just as she finished that sentence, her voice suddenly stopped. She stared wide-eyed at the bracelet. How much did you say? If it's real, I added calmly. You're just trying to stir things up, she snapped. Look at you, all miserable and pathetic. It's obvious no one wants you. You're just a bitter single loser. Emily shot to her feet in a rage before storming off. She hurled one last insult over her shoulder. I know you're just jealous of me. Honestly, I really must be the type who grows older without getting any wiser. Jason came back for New Year's. He loved being around people. Jason was the social type and had great connections. He got in touch with several classmates who were also home for the holidays and planned a small get-together. We arrived early at the chosen spot, each holding a cup of hot milk tea while waiting for the others to show up. This time it wasn't just our classmates. There were students from other classes too. I think one of them goes to your university, Jason said. Really? I asked, surprised. Bill, the class rep from class 4? Do you remember Zach Shao? I tried to recall. Jason let out a sigh and added, tall and skinny like a bamboo stick. But come on, he's got that boyish charm, right? Then he waved it off. Whatever, he's the quiet type. I only found out he was back in town because he posted a few photos on his social feed. I sent him an invite on a whim. Didn't expect him to actually come. Guess he's hoping to meet you. Don't be all cold and quiet like some awkward turtle. Show a little charisma. You got it, I replied, and Jason nodded, satisfied. Then he brought up an old piece of gossip. Back in the day, the only guy who could be compared to Zach Shao was Ethan Walker. They were neck and neck for the title of school heartthrob. Jason let out a dramatic sigh. Look at them now. Oh, by the way, did you hear? Ethan and Emily are attending a local vocational college now. It's a privately run junior college. The Walker family's cash flow dried up. No one dares to lend them money anymore. That black hole of a company is about to go bankrupt. At this point, I can't even tell which of them is dragging the other down. Jason had reserved a private tatama-style room. Our classmates arrived one after another. Then suddenly a shadow loomed over me, followed by someone sitting down next to me. Hey, a soft voice said in greeting. I turned and was met with a pale, clean-cut face and a shy smile. Hey, you're Zach Shao, I asked. Zach's eyes lit up. Yeah, I know you two. You're Sophia, right? We went to the same school. Can I get your contact info? As we were exchanging numbers, the door to the private room was yanked open with a loud bang. Jason's annoyed voice rang out. Ethan Walker, what the hell are you doing here? I didn't invite you. We were classmates, Ethan replied coolly. Don't be such a snob, Jason. I looked up and immediately saw that Ethan wasn't here for fun. He had an agenda. I could already guess who he came for and didn't want him ruining the group's mood. I was about to stand up when Zach gently tugged my sleeve and said, Since he's already here, let him stay. Ethan took the seat directly across from me. He glanced at Zach with open disdain, then turned his fake smile on me. What's the deal? He sneered. Just got back and already looking for a reason to pick on Emily? I knew you wouldn't give up on me that easily, but don't waste your energy. I've already decided to get engaged to her. I looked at him wordlessly, wondering what Emily had said to make him so deluded, since she hadn't had the chance to flaunt it in front of me. Last time you went abroad and spent all that money, but I don't see any real growth. Emily was right. Test scores don't mean anything out in the real world. It's all about connections and people's skills. I'm the backbone of my family. What about yours? Ethan's eyes narrowed. You think you can carry them? Think you'll ever find someone who knows you better than I do? Everyone at the table stared at Ethan in stunned silence. Jason opened his mouth, clearly wanting to curse him out with something foul, but Ethan cut in first. You came back just to mess with Emily? Starting to regret things now. Ethan sounded more and more convinced of himself. I mean, I'm not against getting back on good terms, but your parents would have to double their investment in my company. If they do that, I could help manage their business for them. Consider it a favor based on our history. When someone talks this much nonsense, it actually becomes funny. I couldn't help but laugh. He slammed his hand on the table. What are you laughing at? If you're happy with yourself, then that's all that matters, I said calmly. Honestly, I had no idea what else to say to him. He glanced around and said, I know there are a lot of people here and you don't want to lose face. Come outside with me then. Without warning, Ethan reached over and grabbed my arm. Let go of me. I shouted. Let go of her, someone said at the same time. But this time it was Zach who grabbed Ethan Walker's wrist. I raised my hand and slapped Ethan hard across the face. During the past 6 months studying abroad, I'd been waking up at 6 a.m. every day. The first thing I did after washing up was hit the gym. So when I struck, I didn't hold back. Every slap carried the weight of the hatred from my past life and the anger from this one. I hadn't even tried to take revenge on him yet, and he dared to show up in front of me spouting nonsense like that. The sharp echoing sound of slaps filled the room. Jason reacted quickly, calling over a server and having Ethan, who was screaming that he'd kill me, thrown out of the private room. In this life, I would carry the responsibilities that were mine. I didn't need to rely on anyone else. Between a heavy academic load and a packed internship schedule, I rarely returned to China. By junior year, I began learning the operations of my family's business and started exploring opportunities to expand overseas. Jason also began using the skills he had learned to start freelancing. Most of our classmates were progressing at the same pace. One day, someone posted a screenshot in our old class group chat. It was a wedding invitation. Ethan Walker and Emily Lynn. They must really be in love to get married so early, someone commented. Another person chimed in. I heard it's a shotgun wedding. That kind of thing wasn't unusual in our hometown. That shady vocational school they went to reportedly had a baby boom every year. There were babies born in dorms, in public restrooms, even in classrooms and on the sports field. Sure, giving birth is easy, someone else wrote. But how are they going to raise a kid? Can't just toss it out. The group chat suddenly fell silent. Sadly, this kind of situation wasn't uncommon. Jason messaged me privately. Emily got expelled, he wrote. She racked up gambling debts playing cards outside of school and started stealing from her roommates. One of them installed a camera over her desk. The school didn't want the scandal, so they tried to settle it privately. Emily told Ethan she was pregnant. He continued to demand a dowry from the Walker family, saying if they didn't pay up, she'd accuse him of forcing her, and the baby would be the evidence. The Walker home had already been mortgaged. No one knew how they scraped the money together. But Ethan and Emily went around sending out wedding invitations to every class group chat, even messaging former classmates directly to ask for cash gifts. I stared at the screen with no expression. At this point, nothing they did could. I applied to another top-tier university for grad school. That year was just as busy as the ones before. In addition to my studies, I was involved in major company projects. I helped bring our family business overseas. My parents became more and more confident in me. After graduation, I returned to China and officially took over the company. My dad retired early and planned to travel with my mom to see all the sights they hadn't had time to enjoy when they were younger. As she shopped enthusiastically for new clothes, my mom mumbled something about getting old and not being able to walk much. I showed her how to use a selfie stick. So pretty, she said as she took a photo. My daughter is so amazing. I laughed and downloaded a beauty filter app for her. Then in a quieter voice she asked, Has Ethan contacted you again? I blocked and deleted him a long time ago, I replied. After what happened back then, everyone, relatives, friends, classmates, knew the whole story. Given the difference in status between us now, no one would dare offend me by siding with Ethan. My mom let out a sigh. Good. It's a blessing that things ended when they did. She went quiet for a moment, then said, After the Walker family went bankrupt, they came to your dad's company trying to corner him for money. Ethan even got on his knees and begged. He said he didn't care if he couldn't be your husband. He was willing to be a godson. He really threw away all his dignity. Your dad came home furious and shaken. He almost gave you a husband like that. I patted her hand and said softly, It's all in the past. We're doing just fine now. My mom nodded. Pity your Auntie Walker. Her son turned out terrible, and that wife of his is rude, untrustworthy, and completely irresponsible. After giving birth, she left the baby behind and spends all her time out with sketchy men. Ethan and Emily had long become a cautionary tale among our former classmates. What had once been a passionate, dramatic love story had turned, in just a few short years, into something pitiful and hopeless. After sending my parents off, I threw myself back into the mountain of work waiting for me. Overseas orders were booming, and we were continuing to expand production. I planned to personally inspect potential sites for the new factory. After careful evaluation, I finally settled on a location. On the groundbreaking day, many people came to offer their congratulations. That's when Ethan Walker suddenly charged out from the crowd. Zach Joe immediately stepped in front of me protectively. A few security guards reacted swiftly and pinned Ethan to the ground. "Let me go. Do you know who I am? I'm your boss's fiancé." Ethan shouted as he struggled wildly. He screamed at me. "Sophia, it's me. You're Ethan. Don't you remember how good I was to you? Don't you remember our engagement? I'll only love you from now on. We'll get married, have kids, and live a happy life together." Zach's face turned cold. "Get him out of here," he ordered. Ethan went wild, his bloodshot eyes. Ethan clung on to me as he struggled against the guards. "Sophia, why did you agree to cancel the engagement? You should have stopped me. You should have dragged me to study abroad with you, and your family's company should have been handed over to me." At that moment, I understood Ethan had been reborn too, but it didn't matter anymore. In this life, I had fulfilled his obsession. He shouldn't have any regrets. "This isn't real," he muttered. "I must be dreaming. This is a nightmare. This can't be my life. I'm the CEO of the Shia Group." Ethan's voice grew more hysterical by the second. Some unexplainable strength burst out of him as he shook off the guards and lunged straight at me. "We'll start over, you and me, this time together." There was a flash of cold steel as Ethan pulled a watermelon knife from under his clothes and swung it at me. Zach stepped in and took the blow for me. Sirens wailed as the police arrived and dragged a screaming Ethan away. I accompanied Zach to the hospital to get his wound treated. "Are you okay? Did that scare you?" he asked me while they were stitching his injury. I frowned and glared at him. "Who got hurt here? That maniac Ethan didn't scare me, but you definitely did. What if something happened to you?" Zach chuckled, still wearing the same shy smile he'd had when we first met in that private room. "Well then, I'd finally have a valid excuse to blackmail you." I sighed. "Fine, what do you want? Just say it up front." Zach shook his head. No, a line like that should be said somewhere more romantic." "I'm waiting," I said. "But I'm worried your idea of romance might be just as chaotic as this." Even the doctor stitching him up paused and glanced at him. "Yeah, this place isn't romantic at all. But if you're confessing at a time like this, she's definitely never going to forget it." Zach's face turned bright red, and it stayed that way even when the police arrived to take statements. Ethan's actions had crossed the line. He'd physically attacked Zach. I was going to make sure he paid for it severely. There was no way I'd let him fake insanity and get away with it. But then the police told me something even more shocking. A video had surfaced online. Judging from the background, it had been filmed in a rundown neighborhood. In the video, voices overlapped in chaos. What a tragedy. The father-in-law, the daughter-in-law, and the son all got involved. She's been sleeping around with a bunch of punks from the pool hall, not even hiding it anymore. Didn't someone catch her in bed with her father-in-law? The mother-in-law walked in on them, right? That poor kid, he's not even the real father. Must have driven them all mad that night. You could hear him yelling from a block away that he was the CEO of Shia Group, saying rich people don't live in slums. Then he ran off. No one knew when he came back, but when he did, he went completely off the rails. The video spread rapidly, but because of how disturbing the content was, it was soon taken down. In our old class group chat, someone with connections, Tyan, shared more inside info. Apparently, it was a downstairs neighbor who first noticed the strange smell. They followed the scent upstairs, knocked on the Walker family's door, but no one answered. The first person who went in and saw the scene was still receiving psychological counseling. Besides Ethan, who had been caught on the spot, his missing mother was later found in a nearby garbage dump. He confessed that he drugged her with sleeping pills. When Ethan made his move, his father and his wife had still been conscious when it happened. The scene was horrific, truly deranged. No one could have imagined Ethan Walker would turn into this. The group chat kept flooding with updates. I shut my phone and turned to meet Zach Zhao's worried gaze. Now that I looked back, a chill did creep into my heart. Ethan had really come that day with the intention of dragging me to death with him. Are you okay? Don't try to shoulder everything alone, Zach said gently. You can talk to me. I'm fine, I told him honestly. I don't really feel anything. I've already died once. I've always known how cruel and cold-blooded Ethan could be. It was everyone around me who was actually shaken. My parents were so worried they decided to cut their trip short and return home early. I told them I'd come find them instead, smiling as I looked at Zach. I want to introduce someone to them. You free to come with me? Zach immediately caught on to what I meant and nodded enthusiastically. His focus shifted at once to preparing the perfect gift. He packed so much that we ended up filling 3 oversized suitcases. He even asked me if it might not be enough. I teased him. You're not ugly, don't be nervous about meeting the in-laws. The weather was perfect the day we left. Just before boarding, I received a message from Jason. Ethan Walker was sentenced to death.